All right, let's get started. Welcome to our webinar. This is the #1 way for roofing contractors to generate high quality leads. The strategy I'm about to share with you is the best way for roofing contractors to generate high quality leads that turn into customers and grow your business fast. It's a lead generation strategy that's so powerful that 34 of the top 150 roofing contractors have been using this strategy on average for the last 4.5 years. 15 of the top 150 roofing contractors are spending on average $3,560 a month to execute this strategy and a combined $640,800 per year. Now, if you think only the highest volume roofers can afford this strategy, think again. This strategy can be used by any roofing contractor or any business, regardless of size or budget. And you can start small to first prove to yourself that it works and then scale up as much as you want to generate even more leads. And best of all, your results will be 100% measurable to the exact penny. You'll always know how many leads were generated, how many sales were closed, and how much money you made. Now, if the results are 100% measurable and 15 roofing contractors are investing a combined $640,800 a year to execute this strategy, should there be any doubt that it really works? Now, chances are one or more of the roofing contractors who are competing for the same customers are using this strategy in your market. And since there are only so many prospects in your market every month that need a roofing contractor, it means that every lead that they generate with this strategy is one less lead for you. Unless, of course, you're using this strategy to grow your business too. Hi, my name is Jim Sullivan with Roofer Marketing Strategies, and what you're about to learn is what most roofing contractors are doing to generate leads and why it's not working as well as it used to, and how you can generate 4 times as many leads in the next week using the strategy I'm about to share. I'll also give you an inside look at how some of those top 150 roofing contractors are using this strategy. I'll share an additional strategy that you can use to generate even more leads, and I'll show you how to set up a follow-up email system to convert prospects that don't close right away. At the end of this webinar, you'll have all the information you need to start implementing these strategies by yourself, but if you don't have the time or the skills required to pull it off, I'll also make you 2 offers. One where we set up the program and hand you the keys, and another offer to manage everything for you. Now, what methods are most roofing contractors using to generate leads? Well, some are trying print ads, but that's an outdated method. The ads grow stale pretty quickly. It's the same readership all the time that are reading the newspaper or the magazine, and it's a low return on investment. You could try postcards, and postcards will get you some leads, especially if they follow a storm, for instance, but they're not as effective as they used to be, and it's also a low ROI. Billboards ads will also get you some leads, but it's more for branding and getting your name and your brand out there. It's very expensive, and once more, it's the same prospects driving by your billboards every day. Radio and TV is the most expensive, and it's a low return on investment as well. And once again, it's for branding only, having people recognize your name and your brand, and it's the same audience that's watching those shows, whether it's a radio program or a TV program. Now, this is how smart roofing contractors are generating leads. They're using Google because Google is the fastest way to generate internet leads. And when I say Google, no, I'm not talking about SEO. Now, what's the biggest difference between Google and the other lead generation methods we just shared? Well, print ads, postcards, TV, radio, billboards, those are all forms of interruption advertising, where you're trying to capture the attention of a person that's not looking for your service at that time. But when a prospect is on Google, they're a red-hot lead that is searching for, finding, and calling you. They've already taken action and are much closer to becoming a customer than someone you have to interrupt with an ad. That's why we say Google advertising is the #1 way to generate high-quality leads in 1 week or less, where you can be at the top of a Google search page for hundreds of keywords. And once again, no, we're not talking about SEO. SEO may be a good long-term investment for your business, but there are no guarantees that you'll get a top 5 ranking on page 1. And if you need to get in the top 5 slots on a Google search page in order for SEO to work, but there are 5 or more roofing contractors in directory listings in your market that have been doing SEO for years, how are you going to leapfrog your competitors to get one of those top 5 slots? Chances are it's not going to happen. You should also know that Google takes a dim view of SEO because they think of it as someone trying to game the system to get a higher ranking. That's why Google keeps changing their algorithm to make it hard for SEO consultants. When Google does change their algorithm, you can lose your high ranking overnight. That's why we say the number one way to use the internet to generate more leads is through Google AdWords. Now, Google AdWords is the pay-per-click advertising, also called PPC, where you pay only when someone clicks on your ad. You probably recognize these. You've done countless searches, no doubt, in your time. But just so we're all on the same page here, these are the paid ads, the Google ads, and you'll see it by the orange block that says ads. There are 4 ads now at the top. There used to be 3 and a bunch of ads on the side, and Google has recently switched that. So there are 4 ads at the top. The Google Places ads come in after that, and I call them an ad. They're more of a listing. And then in the middle is the organic listings, and then at the bottom now there are 3 paid ads as well. Now, when you're thinking of the paid ads, you might think, very few people click on those ads. You might think, hey, I don't click on those Google ads, so probably no one else does. But if you're thinking that, then it's the wrong perception, because Google gets more than 92% of their advertising income from Google AdWords. And as you can see, in 2015, it's been a steady growth for a long time. And in 2015, they were over $67 billion, of which more than $60 billion of that is through Google AdWords advertising. So you might not click on those ads or think someone else does, but believe me, many people are doing it to the tune of over $60 billion. The fact is, though, you only need 2 to 3% to click on your ad. It's called the CTR, click-through rate, to make it profitable for your business. And you can test Google AdWords for a small amount of money to prove to yourself that it works. And once your test is over, you can slowly scale your campaign to get more leads or shut it down if it's not working. You can also cap daily spend, and campaigns can be turned on or off. It's called pausing your campaign. And ads can be set to appear only during specific days and times. Once again, it's 100% measurable results, and it works. So who's using Google AdWords? Of those top 150 roofing contractors, I told you I would give you kind of an inside peek. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to share some, I'm calling it inside information, but the reality is all the information I'm about to share is available via the internet. I'm not disclosing any personal financial information that you couldn't readily find yourself. But I am going to take you through a few of those top 150 roofing contractors and show you how they're advertising on the internet. The first one is A&R Roofing and Exteriors in Pratt, Kansas, and I want to direct your attention to a few things. First of all, on the left side, this shows what they're doing organically, and again, organically, the non-paid ads, if you will, that appear in the middle. And then on the right side, it shows you how much they're spending, as well as some other data as far as PPC advertising, the paid advertising AdWords. So as you can see in the middle, it shows a graph of how many clicks they're getting, and yeah, you can tell pretty readily that 96% of the clicks are through the paid advertising, Google AdWords, and only 4% of the clicks are coming through organic. And you can follow the graphs. The blue one, obviously, is the paid ads, and you can see that A&R Roofing for a while was probably spending about $1,700 and kind of going along. And then at one point, they either did one of two things. They either decided to make more of an investment in Google AdWords, or they stopped doing it themselves, or they fired an ineffective Google Campaign Manager. In any event, they shot up to about $4,000 a month, and they have since brought it back down to about $3,000. A few things here. Again, they're spending $3,000 a month, and they've been doing Google AdWords for 7 years, 7 months. And I'll say this repeatedly: if Google AdWords is measurable to the penny, which it is, and they've been doing it for 7 years and 7 months, do you think it's working for them? It has to be working for them, or else they wouldn't keep on doing it. Now, whenever they have these dips, that can be a few different things, but they could literally decide they want to scale it down just a little bit if they're getting too many leads. And that's the great thing about Google too, or Google AdWords. It's more like a faucet. You can turn it on when you need more leads. You can turn it off if you have too many leads, or you can kind of let it trickle and bring it down a notch, if you will, if you want to have a few less leads or spend a little less money. Now, this is the second one I want to show you. This is Hoffman Weber Construction in Minneapolis, and it says they've got 0% organic, but you can see the smallest of slivers there. That gives you the indication that they've got just a little bit of organic listings, but they are spending almost $4,000 a month. And once again, you can see the curve where were they doing it themselves? Did they hire a new PPC manager, or did they just decide to scale back for a few months and take a break? Perhaps a staffing issue, who knows? But then when they started cranking up, they cranked up big time, and they're now at about $4,000 a month. You can see too, they more than likely grew it a little bit. They tested more, they had good results, they kept spending more and more, and again, that's what you can do with Google. You can test on a small scale, and once it's working for you, you can ramp it up to get even more leads. This is Mr. Roof, or slash Able Roof, if you will, headquartered out of Columbus, Ohio. 93% of their revenue or their clicks, I should say, is coming from the paid platform, and only 7% through organic. And once again, you can see where they're spending probably, what's that, about a little over $1,000 for a bit. They scaled it back down to nothing, and then they shot back up for the last 3 weeks. And once more, the last 3 months. So once again, if they've gone 3 months and they're spending nearly $6,000 a month, it's got to be working for them. So, and this is Precision Roofing, and once more, this is a almost 0% with the slivers of sliver in the organic, and 99.9%, if you will, in the paid ads. They're spending $9,400 per month. They've only been doing it for 2 years and 9 months, but a very, very steady progression. Once again, they test a little bit, they spend a little bit more, they spend a little bit more, spend a little bit more, and once more, it's got to be working for them if they're spending close to $10,000 a month and gradually growing it over time. And the final one I want to show you is Cullis Roofing in Longwood, Florida, where 97% of their clicks are coming from the paid advertising and only 3% through SEO. They're spending over $11,000 per month, and once more you see this steady progression where they're testing a little bit and then spending more as they get better results. One thing I want to mention about SEO and all the ones you've seen here where they're doing very, very little as far as organic. A lot of business owners are frustrated with SEO and SEO ranking, and especially with roofers, because there are only a limited number of spaces there, and if people have been doing SEO for a while, it's tough to get one of those, as we've already said, get one of those top 5 rankings. So it's a challenge. So a lot of roofers, like the ones I've shown you, have said, you know what, I'm going to spend money on Google AdWords. It's completely measurable, versus SEO where I can't measure it, and I'm having trouble, potentially these folks are having trouble getting a high enough ranking on SEO. So that's why they've looked to Google AdWords, and quite honestly, I think why you should look to it too. So why aren't more roofers using this strategy to generate leads? Well, poor campaign results is the #1 reason, and they either hire PPC firms that really don't know what they're doing, or they more than likely they try to do it internally. They try to do it themselves, and Google sets it up where you can kind of sort of figure it out with their help, but doing it and doing it well are 2 entirely different things, and I'm going to walk through some things to kind of help you out if you are currently doing Google AdWords. So, but they're either getting poor campaign results or they've heard about bad experiences from other companies, either other roofers or friends who own other companies who haven't had success with Google AdWords because, again, they don't really, they try to do it themselves and don't really have the expertise. Some people look at it and say it's too complicated, and others, they simply don't have the time to manage the campaign because they're running their business. So whether you've never used Google AdWords before, tried Google AdWords and failed, or you simply want to get better results from your current campaign, the information I'm about to share with you is for you. So I'll share the 5 reasons why Google AdWords campaigns fail and show you the steps you need to take to get better results. So here are the 5 reasons, and I'll cover them all in detail, but just quickly now. Poor campaign setup, bad ads, that came out quick, no landing page, no conversion tracking, and no remarketing. And again, I'll explain each of these one by one. When it's campaign setup, the mistake people make, the first one out of the gate, is choosing the beginner's interface. And Google gives you the option of beginners or advanced interface. You always want to choose advanced interface so you have the options you need to customize your campaign. You might inherently think, well, I'm a beginner, so therefore I should choose beginner's interface, but all that does is limit your options, and you want to have the options so you're not stuck with a lot of Google default selections that make it tough to make this work for you. So, which is kind of segues into the next mistake, using all of Google's default settings and taking their advice without questions. Google's goal, just to be clear, is to get as many clicks as possible. They're running a business. In fact, they're a publicly traded company, and you saw their growth year after year. They want more clicks. That's what they're all about. They want to help you, but if it came to helping you or getting more clicks, they would choose get more clicks. So what you need to do is check every setting during the campaign setup and choose the ones that would yield you the highest quality clicks, because that's your goal. You don't want more clicks, you want quality clicks. And I'll walk you through a couple of those things as far as default settings to explain a little bit more. One of those is choosing the wrong location setting, and you got to make sure that your location setting is set to people in my targeted location so that your ad will only show to prospects searching in your area. And here's what I mean. In this example, we've set it up for, I believe this is the Cleveland area, and this is the default that Google will try to make you select. They will default to this and say people in searching for or viewing pages about my targeted location. And they would tell you that's recommended. They want you to choose that one. And the reason they want you to choose that one is if, as in this example, say you're a roofing contractor in Cleveland, your ad, if you check that, your ad will show up all over the country if, in fact, somebody types in roofing contractor Cleveland or any other number of keywords where they're specifying Cleveland as well. So, and the reason you don't want that, especially at the beginning of the campaign, is you run the risk of getting some bad clicks. And what's a bad click? A bad click is somebody in Miami, just for yucks, checking other markets to see what other ads are out there and what other websites or landing pages look like, and deciding to click on your ad because they have access to it. What you want to do, again, at the beginning, you want to be very conservative and not get bad clicks. So what you want is click on people in my targeted location, and then you can specify the location here. You can do a radius, you can mention towns, cities, states, however you want to set it up, but it should be just your location. Here's an example I did, and I'm in Tampa, Florida, by the way, and I did a search for roofing contractors Baltimore, and you've got Maryland and Baltimore roofing contractors showing up, and again, that's not what we recommend, because I could easily click on any of those ads, and these folks are charged even though I am not in the market in Baltimore. Another mistake is letting Google automatically bid your keywords for you. And what you want to do is you want to always set your bids manually. That means every single keyword that you put in the system, you want to be able to set the bid so you won't be paying too much for your clicks. And this is what you want to check. This is the default setting for Google. AdWords will set my bids to help maximize clicks within my target budget. And that sounds great, but what that really means is Google will set high bids for you. That's just what they do. What you want is I'll manually set my bids for clicks. I have a client in Buffalo that I took over their campaign, and when we switched it from the way his campaign manager had set it up to have Google set the clicks or set the budget, we changed it to manually set my bids for clicks, and we reduced his cost just on that one thing alone by nearly 40%. So you always want to manually set your clicks, which is that top one. Another mistake, choosing both the search network and the display network. You always want to choose search network only when setting up your campaign, and maybe down the road, and I say maybe, consider adding display network. Now, and if you don't know, search network, you should know what search network is. You go to google.com, you type something into the search box, you hit enter, and boom, you're there on a search page where it's showing you, like in the example before, the paid ads, and the organic listings as well. That's a Google search. Display network is if your ad will show up on other websites that take display advertising. Now that's fine if it's a remarketing ad, and we'll get into that later, but your ad could be showing up, if you sign up for that, for someone who's searching for looking at an entirely different website. They could be looking at tires or looking at video on YouTube, and your ad could show up there. Hey, you need a roofing contractor? Well, they're looking at a video on YouTube, listening to music, or checking another website. You don't want your ad to show up there. Now, could you have somebody who just happened to need a roof or need a roof repaired? Sure you can, but chances are you're going to get a ton of bad clicks, and that's a great way if you're looking to deplete your budget. That's a great way to do it. So you always want to choose search network only, and this is the one that Google will default to. They'll say that's the standard. Keyword targeted text ads for the search network, which is what you want, with display select. And you absolutely don't want display select. Again, maybe you test that down the road, but for now, when you're setting up your campaign, be very, very conservative. And if you're running an existing campaign, that's one thing I would get in and check. If you can shut off the display network, you're going to save a whole bunch of money and a whole bunch of bad clicks. Another mistake in campaign setup is running your ads 24/7. You don't want somebody clicking on your ad or calling your business when it's closed. Now, if you've got a 24/7 answering service that takes calls, that's awesome. But if you don't, if you're like most businesses and you're only around, let's say, Monday through Friday during normal business hours, that's when you want your ads to run. So you can customize that in the setup to make sure that someone is there when somebody clicks on your ad and gives you a call. Not having a Google My Business account is another mistake. You want to establish that so you can add a location extension to your ad. And this is a location extension. It's simply an address. So you want the address for a lot of reasons. Well, two main ones. The biggest, most obvious one is that if somebody can see your address and you're local, they'll be more than likely to click on your ad. A little less obvious one is it makes your ad one line bigger. And make no mistake, bigger is better when it comes to Google AdWords. Yeah, you look at, just with the address, you look at, compare the second ad to the first and the third ad. This is a 6-line ad versus a 3-line ad. Versus a 5-line ad. It just takes up more space, and again, more likely to get a click, just not only because of the size, but also because the prospect can see where the business is, that it's a real business and it's a local business. One more mistake is using broad match for your keywords. What you really want to do is use phrase match and exact match only. I won't get into it here, but you could use broad match modifier, but that's for perhaps training for another day. What you want to do when you're setting up your campaign initially is only go with phrase match and exact match. And phrase match is simply your ad appears if somebody types the exact phrase you have in quotes. Now, there could be something in front of it or something following it. For instance, if you have a keyword that's roofing contractor and that's your phrase match and that's in quotes, then if somebody types in roofing contractor in Boston or low-cost roofing contractor, your ad will show up because it's a phrase match because roofing contractor, what you had in quotes, was your keyword. Exact match is similar to that, but your ad appears if someone types in exactly and only what you have in brackets. So in that example, if you had roofing contractor in brackets and somebody typed in Boston or in Cleveland or somewhere else, then your ad would not show up for that exact match keyword. Broad match is entirely different. Broad match, you're once again putting it in Google's hands and if Google thinks that someone typed in something that's similar to your keyword, they will show your ad. And why do you not want them to show your ad for broad match keywords? Well, again, it comes back to bad clicks. If you rely on Google to decide when your ad shows up, you're going to get something like one of my Buffalo clients did. And he was getting bad clicks. And again, when somebody set up his campaign, they set it up as broad match. And he was getting, believe it or not, clicks for buffalo chicken wings. Buffalo chicken wing recipes, buffalo pulled chicken, and lots of stuff having to do with buffalo because Google looked at it and said, close enough, and they showed his ad. And the sad thing is, people were clicking on it. A lot of times people won't read the ad, and they'll just click on everything that appears just to check it out. And if somebody's searching for buffalo chicken wings, they're not looking for a roofing contractor. So eliminate broad match, just go with phrase match and exact match when you're setting up your campaign, and you'll have a lot fewer bad clicks and you'll save some bucks. And choosing too many keywords. If you're doing SEO, you want to have every keyword you can possibly think of. Why? Because it's an organic listing. You're not paying for any time somebody clicks on your listing for your organic listing. So if you're doing SEO, the more the merrier as far as keywords. But for Google AdWords, you want to start out with a very small group of what I call bullseye keywords. And then as you have success with that, slowly expand the list to test other keywords. And this is something, when you looked at the examples of the other roofing contractors, as they slowly grew their business, this is something they likely did. They started with a small group of keywords, and then they tested it a little bit more and a little bit more. They probably added some budget to that as well. Excuse me. Quick drink here. Excuse me. Been talking all day. And then what they probably did was they added a little bit more money to it as well. But they also more than likely tested some keywords after that first round of bullseye keywords. So start out small and then add to it later. When it comes to campaign ads, that's let me share some of the mistakes there as well. And one mistake is starting your campaign without creating ad extensions for your ads. And what you want to do is create ad extensions that include site links, location extension, call extension, and review extension. And I will share all of these. We've already been over the location extension, essentially your address. The call extension is pretty, and all of these extensions, quite honestly, are easy to add. The call extension is great. Not only does it make your ad one line bigger, but what it does is sometimes, it doesn't often happen, but it happens sometimes where someone looks at your ad, reads it and says, oh, yeah, I should probably contact these guys. I'll click on oh, wait, here's their phone number. I'll just call them. And when they do that, you got a free lead because they did a search. You're going to pay when they click on your ad. and the prospect decided not to click on the ad and just call you. So that's awesome if that happens, but it's certainly not going to happen unless you add your call extension, which is your phone number. And then this is the review extension, and it might be a challenge for you to get that. I believe you need at least 20 reviews from what Google considers a reputable site, and obviously a lot easier for a home advisor to have something like that versus a roofing contractor. But if you have that and you have a high enough rating, I would add your review extension. That does set you apart from the other listings and the other roofing contractors if you've got that added. And then the last one is site link extensions. And site links are, well, they're links. They're clickable links that can go to other areas of your website or landing page. And what they do too is they not only make your ad bigger, we talked about how bigger is better, but they also will help build a case. You could provide additional information, and that's what all the site links do, or I should say all the extensions do, from the site links to the location extension, call extension. They all make your ad bigger. They all add more information, and the more information you have, the bigger the ads they are, the more likely you are to get clicks. So you have to add all those extensions, and quite honestly, people set up their campaign and they know a little bit about it, so they know enough to set it up, get their ad up there, and they're all happy because, hey, look, I'm getting clicks too, this is awesome. But they haven't gone through and done everything the way they should do, and one of them is adding all the extensions. Not split testing your ads is another big mistake. What a lot of people do is they'll do what I call the set it and forget it, if you remember that old infomercial. And what you really want to do is you want to start with 2 or 3 ads, and then what happens is you let Google kind of pit them against each other, if you will, and you want there to be a winner and a loser, and you let it go let it run for about a week at least, and then after a week you look at it and you see the results. You replace the loser ads and you bring up a new challenger, and you should be doing that over and over and again. Now, the people I said that are set it and forget it folks, they start with 1 ad, maybe 2 ads, and then they don't change their ads. You always want your ad to be getting better. It should be a challenge to you to try to make your ad better. Try to beat your best, if you will. And if you don't split test your ads, that won't happen. Not inserting the name of your city or town in the headline of the ad, you should always run at least one of those test ads with the name of your city included in the ad. And it's just a simple example. This roofing contractor, no doubt in Baltimore, knows that if they put Baltimore in the headline of the ad, somebody searching in Baltimore will be more than likely to click on their ad. So make sure you include that as well. And then no distinct call to action in your ad. This may sound simplistic, and you might think, well, people don't need to be told what to do, but actually they do. You always should tell the prospect what to do next. Call now, free estimates, or, quite honestly, call now for a free estimate, whatever fits. You want to tell them what to do next. People need to be led, and when you add that to your ad, it will improve your results as well. Landing page is one of the 2 biggest categories I want to talk about, and a landing page is a 1-page website. It's technically actually any page that you land on, but for the purposes of this discussion, it's a 1-page website. And the mistake people make is they send AdWords prospects to their website instead of their landing page. And what you want to do is create a landing page, again, a 1-page website designed to get prospects to either call you or fill out the form. That's it. One decision marketing. You don't want to distract them with other pages of content and hope that they'll return to that first page and call you or fill out the form, because a lot of times that doesn't happen. Here's an example, again, in my market in the Tampa area. I didn't click on this ad, by the way. What I did do is I just copied and pasted their URL. And I would encourage you to do that too. If you want to check out some other ads, don't click on the ads. To me, that's bad karma, if you will, because you're charging somebody else for the click. And you certainly don't want them to do that to you. So what I did was I copied and pasted the URL, and when I did, it's the same as clicking on the ad, at least from what appears on my screen, and this is where they sent me to their website. And I'm sure it's a wonderful website and probably looks a lot like yours, but look at all the options. Again, if you want somebody to come to your website and your goal is your goal to have them review all this stuff, or is your goal to get them to contact you? It should be, especially with Google AdWords, where you're paying for each click. You don't want to distract them with all this other stuff. Again, great to have on your website for SEO, for people to learn and educate, and I believe in all that stuff, but this is one decision marketing. You want them to get on, decide to contact you or not, and leave. So here's an example, and this is another market obviously in Denver, and when we copied and pasted the link here equal to clicking on the ad, this is where they sent us. And I'm not saying this is the best landing page in the world, but it's kind of set up the way you should set up your landing page. What you really want is you want your logo, if you have one there. You want your phone number in big numbers in the right corner, and then you want the contact form here. Now this could be a good photo or a video, and then what I'd like to see here is more of a headline that grabs attention and makes somebody want to read through the rest of the page. But again, this is one decision marketing. They get on, there's no, and I don't really even want these other pages here either. I want a one-page website with just enough information where the prospect can feel comfortable about contacting you, and then they either call you because the big phone number's right there, or they fill out the form, and that's it. Now, people also make a mistake if they do a landing page or a website by not putting their phone number in the upper right corner. You need to do that. And again, a perfect example, they put their phone number in big numbers right up there where it belongs. Conversion tracking. Oh, before I get to conversion tracking, I did mention the landing page. Obviously, when we went through that, the landing page and conversion tracking are two of the biggest things. Now, the other stuff, certainly you should be doing that, and you could improve your campaigns immeasurably just by going through those things as well and taking those recommendations. But having a landing page rather than your website will double your leads for the same amount of money, because it's all about conversions. You want to send them to a landing page rather than to your website, and if you just listen to what I said and then said, well, I'm going to send them to my website anyway, you're going to pay the price, and Google AdWords isn't going to work as well for you. That's really number one big thing that you have to do. The other big thing is what I'm about to talk about is conversion tracking. And conversions, people don't track conversions. And if you don't know, here's what a conversion is. Somebody does a Google search, again, use the example of the keyword roofing contractor. Somebody types that in, they're in your market, and your Google AdWords appears. They click on your ad, go to hopefully your landing page, but possibly your website, and then they decide to contact you, either by calling you or filling out the form. When they do that, that is tracked, that is a conversion. The problem is so many people aren't tracking the conversions, so they don't really know what keywords and what ads are converting, and you really need to do that because not all keywords convert at the same rate. And once you know which ones are converting well and which ones are not converting at all, or at a very low conversion rate, you can pause or delete the losers, if you will, that are draining your budget, and continue your campaign only with the winning keywords. And I want to give you an example. And it's a simplistic example, but it's to illustrate the point. Let's say you had a campaign with 40 keywords, and 20 of those keywords were getting almost no clicks, while 20 of them were getting lots of clicks. Now, those 20 that are getting almost no clicks, you could pause or delete those, but it almost doesn't matter. Again, it's pay-per-click advertising, where you only pay if someone clicks on your ads, and if those keywords aren't generating any clicks, it almost doesn't matter. They're just kind of sitting there. So if you want to delete them, go ahead. but you really don't have to. The ones I want to focus on are those keywords, those 20 keywords that are getting lots of clicks. And again, in this example, simplistic as it is, let's say 10 of those keywords were converting really well. And again, a conversion, they're clicking on the ad based on that keyword. They're clicking on the ad, go to your landing page, and contacting you. While 10 of those keywords had almost no conversions. If you have conversion tracking in place, you'd know how each keyword is performing. You'd get to see line by line how each one was converting. And you could pause those 10 big budget-eating keywords and run your campaign only with the winning keywords. It's really, really important to have conversion tracking, because if you don't have conversion tracking in place, you're flying blind. You don't know which keywords or which ads are working and which ones are not. All you would do is look, if you don't have conversion tracking in place, you would just look at your long list of keywords and say, boy, I'll tell you, these 20 keywords, they're getting lots of clicks. We must be running a great campaign here. And again, what you don't realize without conversion tracking in place, that 10 of them are absolute losers that are ripping you off and draining your budget. You got to get rid of those. You got to pause them or delete them. And if you have conversion and tracking in place, then you'll know. If you don't have conversion and tracking in place, as over 90% of the Google AdWords campaigns out there, even the ones run by professionals, don't have conversion and tracking in place, then it's costing you a whole bunch of money. This alone can make or break your campaign. Again, all the recommendations I think are solid recommendations, but having a landing page and having conversion tracking in place are really going to make or break your campaign. There's the difference between at the end saying, this is working great for me, I'm going to spend a little more next month and a little more next month, and isn't it going wonderful, and look at all these leads I'm getting, versus, you know what, I tried Google AdWords and it just, it just wasn't worth it. I didn't get, I spent a lot of money, I didn't get that many leads. Well, you didn't get that many leads because you didn't have conversion tracking in place, you didn't have a landing page, you didn't do the right campaign setup, you weren't split testing ads, all the things we talked about. So, the last thing I want to cover is remarketing. And remarketing is, the mistake is not running a remarketing campaign. And what you want to do is you want to create a text ad and at least two different sized, two is probably enough, different sized image ads, like a banner ad for the top or a box if your ad shows up on the side. And here's some examples. And I will tell you, just as an aside, I clicked on, gosh, I don't know how many, 30, 40 different roofing contractors in a whole bunch of different markets to see if I could get a remarketing ad that I could show you as an example. And I ended up really with only two companies. Obviously, this is the same company with two different, the banner size ads or the image ads that I was talking about. Those are the two sizes you need. And this is a text ad. So, and what happens with remarketing, and you've probably done this if you've, well, not if, as you search and check out other products and services. Say where you were looking at a particular brand of car, the car companies will all do this. You go to their website, check out a few different models, you maybe check out some options, but you're not ready to buy yet, and certainly you're not going to buy a car online for the most part. So you leave that website and you go to other websites, and when you do, what that car company did is they put attached a cookie to you, a code, if you will, and now their ad is going to follow you around. You probably have had this happen a number of times, like I said. So, and what that does is, if you then clicked on that ad, you would go right back to where they wanted you to go to, which is either a landing page, a website, or perhaps even back to that same exact model of car you were looking at. So, the cool thing about this is prospects that go back, that click on your ad, that were on your website or your landing page and decide to go back, those are serious buyers, a lot more serious buyers than other folks. So, and the cost per click, the cost for each click for a remarketing ad is incredibly low. So if you're doing a Google AdWords campaign, you really want to incorporate remarketing and take advantage of those low clicks. It's pretty easy to do. An IT guy, web guy can add the code and just walk through. Setup is fairly easy as well. So. Now, even if you don't use Google AdWords, I want to share with you 2 additional strategies to help grow your business. The first strategy is called the Roof Buyer's Guide, or the Roof Buyer's Guide strategy, and it's based on the fact that not everyone who visits your website or your landing page is ready to buy just yet. So instead of making offers that will only attract the now buyers, the ones that are ready to buy right now, we want to also offer something that the future buyers will actually want, like a free, in this case, free 2016 Roof Buyer's Guide. So what you want to do is you want to promote this guide on your website as a free offer on the upper right side near the top of the home page, so that visitors won't have to scroll down to see it. You want it, as they used to call it, the newspaper business, you want it above the fold. You want to have your web designer create an order form for the guide and require prospects to fill out the form with their name, address, phone number, contact information, especially email address, in order to receive the free guide. Now, you can make your Roof Buyer's Guide a downloadable PDF, so they get that instant gratification. They can have it right away. And also, so it'll save you money on printing too. You don't have to, you certainly don't want something where they're going to fill out the form and then have you mail it to them a few days later. They want it right now. So, but what that does is it allows you to grab their contact information. And then the day after the prospect downloads your guide, you can call them to make sure that they received it. Obviously, that's kind of just the setup, an excuse, I should say, for calling. And then once you have them on the phone, hey, did you get our free guide? Just wanted to make sure that you downloaded it okay. Then ask some probing questions, to determine the status of everything. Do they need a new roof? Do they just need a roof repair? What's their budget? What's the urgency? That kind of thing. And then end the conversation by offering a free inspection or a free estimate for their roof. Now, if the prospect doesn't agree to the free inspection during the call, their name should go into your follow-up email hopper. And we'll get to that in just a second. But when creating this guide, you also want to put yourself in the minds of your prospective buyers and provide the type of information they need. And just ask yourself, if I were a buyer and I knew nothing about purchasing a roof, because there are some folks out there that have purchased a roof before, but a whole bunch of people that haven't, and they need information. So, what type of information? Well, how about identifying some of the warning signs that might suggest that the roof needs to be repaired or replaced? How about including a number of photos of different styles of roofing systems that you offer, that kind of thing. But one of the biggest things is you want to teach them what to look for and look out for when choosing a roofing contractor. And especially if you're a reputable roofing contractor, which you no doubt are if you're listening to this or watching this webinar, you want to set yourself apart from the fly-by-night guys. So if you can teach them what to look for and what to look out for in your guide, that will set yourself up for the sale down the road when they are ready to buy. The other thing I wanted to talk about is a follow-up email system strategy that kind of ties into the guide we just talked about. What you really need to do is you really need to have a system in place to secure email addresses from prospects, and it starts with employing an incoming call script. For phone leads. If somebody calls up, you should 100% all the time get their email address. Hey, before I pass you over to sales, let me make sure I send you our free Roof Buyer's Guide. Nancy, what's your email address? I'll send that right out to you. Now, boom, we've got Nancy's email address, and we can continue to market to her with a follow-up email system. And an email system, sending out emails to Nancy is pretty much free. Now, for your website and landing page leads, you want to make sure you require them to provide their email address whenever they fill out the contact form. And just like we shared in the previous example, offer some valuable information like a free Roof Buyer's Guide, something like that as an incentive for giving up their contact information. They won't do it, especially on a website, they won't do it voluntarily unless there's something in it for them. So, and then once more, you can follow up with a phone call to try to get your free inspection, free estimate. Now, if they don't take you up on your free inspection, your free estimate, just like with the Roof Buyer's Guide, you can give them an estimate, or if you give them an estimate and they don't close, they should go into your follow-up email hopper. And for that, you want a series of emails that should be designed to follow up with the prospects and move them from the I'm thinking about replacing my roof or my roof needs repaired stage to the it's time to select a roofing contractor stage. And you can do that with separate emails where it's giving a little bit each day and building the case for choosing you, giving them some educational information and kind of walking through. But what it does more than anything else, it allows you to stay in front of the prospect, where if they talk to a few other contractors, you want to be the one that follows up with them. But doing it versus an email, you certainly don't want to call them a bunch of days in a row because that would get pretty annoying pretty quickly. But if you sent them a follow-up email every day and that was in their inbox and that gave them additional information that would help facilitate their decision and help them select the right roofing contractor, then you're the guy that's following up when someone else is not, and you'll set yourself up for the sale doing it that way. Now, there are a bunch of different email platforms. I'm not going to recommend one over another. And I listed only 4. There's countless other ones that I could have put on the screen. But when you are evaluating an email platform, if you don't have one already, you want to check on 2 big things. You want to make sure you can upload an existing list. So if you're just getting an email platform and you want to start contacting, let's say, past customers or current prospects, there are certain platforms that won't let you upload an existing list. And I believe Aweber is one of those platforms. That's why I kind of don't recommend them, even though they do a good job. But they also have an issue with an opt-in policy. And that issue is, again, using the example of somebody calls in and you got their contact information. That's great. Now you can market to them if you're using some of those other email platforms. But with Aweber, they have like a double opt-in policy. So with the first example, with some email platforms, you can just enter that person's email address. You talk to them, they gave you their email address, and now you can just enter it into your system and you can start sending them information, whether it's a follow-up email or a newsletter or what have you. There's no problem. But with Aweber and some of the other platforms that have the double opt-in policy, what that would do is you'd want to put in, again, Nancy or Fred or whoever, you've got their contact information, and Aweber would send Nancy or Fred an email and saying, hey, ABC Roofing Contractor wants to send you some additional information. Are you opting in here? If so, you've got to click yes. And some people who want the information will forget and not do it, and other folks will look at it and say, well, wait a second, I'm not sure I want that, and they won't opt in. So those are 2 big things you want to check. Can you upload the existing list, or what about their opt-in policy? And then choose your email platform based on that. And then you also want to make sure the platform has the capacity to efficiently set up that series of follow-up emails that I talked about. So, because you want that kind of as an autoresponder series where you have to kind of set it up and just at the on a daily basis just add whatever new leads came in, and then the system will send those follow-up emails that you wrote and set up. So that's the educational part, and I want to share with you how we can help you grow your business as well. So what we do is we create high-converting landing pages and high-converting campaign ads for roofing contractors. We know which keywords to use, plus some tricks we've learned to optimize your campaign. As you might be able to tell, we're not only experienced in Google AdWords, we've got kind of a passion for it as well. That's why we're making 2 special offers. The first offer is the Google AdWords Campaign Management Program. And with that, what we do is we'll set up your campaign, we'll create a customized landing page for you. We'll write your ads, we'll split test the ads, we'll select all the keywords, those bullseye keywords that I was talking about, and we'll track your conversions as well. And we'll give you a whole bunch of free stuff. We'll give you a free landing page, free domain, free hosting. We'll create and design those free remarketing ads that I shared with you, and we'll be able to secure, especially if you're new to Google AdWords. Google runs promotions it's usually either $75 or $100 as a gift card, and it's essentially free clicks from Google to kind of incent people to start a campaign with them. So we should be able to get you that if you're new, and a lot of times, since the domain is going to be different, we can get that for you as well. So that'll get you kind of started a little bit and reduce your risk. We also manage your campaign and adjust your daily spend cap, if you will, or pause your campaign at any time you choose. So you're not at any kind of big risk of running it for a day or two and spending thousands of dollars and losing lots of money and never getting leads and all that kind of stuff. We would start out very small, very conservatively, and prove it to you over time, just like some of the examples we showed from some of the other companies. They built it over time based on success. And you would know about the success because we provide weekly reports on your Google AdWords campaign, including the number of clicks you get, how much cost per click, how many conversions, which keywords are converting, etc. So our Google AdWords management program, again, it's not a lot of the other marketing and advertising you've seen, because it's not brand building, it's not social media where you're having conversations, it's not public relations or any of that kind of stuff, all those channels where you're not quite sure if they're making you money or not. We can quantify exactly how much money was spent, how many leads we generated, how many conversions you had, and how much money you made. And how much money you made will be on your end when you figure out how many sales you had. But there's no guesswork on whether or not our program worked for your business. I will say too, sometimes people misconstrue and think that we're somehow generating leads and then selling them off to or sharing them with other roofing contractors, and that's absolutely not the case. You get all the leads from your campaigns, all the calls, all the forms, everything goes directly to you, so they don't go to us. So how much does it cost? Our standard fees for making this happen are usually $1,497 per month. That's a monthly management fee. For our limited time offer, what we're going to do is it's $997 a month. So we've knocked about $500 off that monthly management fee. We also usually do a one-time setup fee, as you might imagine, creating and designing and writing a landing page, designing those remarketing ads, setting up your entire campaign, choosing all the keywords. All that is, takes some time and effort. So we usually get $997 as a setup fee for making that happen. But we're going to give it to you for free. We're also, as I've already mentioned, giving you free hosting and a free domain as well. And typically when we do this, we require an annual agreement, but as an introduction to our services, it's a month-to-month agreement. And I say introduction, it would always be month-to-month for you, but we wanted to introduce you to our services in this manner. So typically, to get in, it would cost you nearly $19,000 to test it for 1 year. But since you're month to month and there's no setup fee and none of the other associated costs, you can test Google AdWords to see if it works for your business for just $997 for the 1 month test. Now that's offer number one. Offer number two is our Google AdWords system, and how that differs is on the first one, offer number one, we're with you and we manage everything for as long as you want to run your AdWords campaign. We'll be there and we'll manage it for you. For this offer, it's a turnkey package, and we're going to create the custom landing page for you. We'll set up your campaign, we'll write your ads, and we'll select your keywords as well. And then we'll give you 4 step-by-step videos to help you manage the campaign, because what we're doing is we're creating everything and then we're handing the keys to you to run the campaign yourself. And that might be an option for some businesses that don't want to pay for ongoing support. Obviously, you're paying for the ongoing support with the other program, but the videos will help you manage that, and it'll walk you through and take you into a live account and show you exactly, again, everything will already be set up for you, but you will have to, from time to time, manage and tweak your campaign. So we'll show you how to do account settings and ad writing and split testing and keyword bidding, etc. So You also get 7 days of support, and by that I mean after we set everything up, after we have everything up and running, we'll stick around for 7 days just to make sure there are no glitches before, again, we hand you the keys. And we'll also kind of stay in touch, more so to help you, quite honestly, not to sell you something else, but to help you, because Google from time to time will change some things, and we are a part of quite honestly, a worldwide group of folks that do AdWords and do it well. And when Google makes a change, or there's a trend, or something is working, it is shared within our group, and if that's something that we feel you can benefit from, we'll include that in our monthly e-newsletter for you as well. So the cost of the system is $2,497. That's our standard price, but for our special offer, we take $600 off of that, and we'll do everything for you for $1,897. So, and once again, you're getting that when we set that up, we should be able to secure either $75 or $100 worth of free advertising, free clicks, if you will, from Google. And I want to also give you 2 bonuses as well. We mentioned the Roof Buyer's Guide, but what we didn't mention was we'd be happy to create that for you at no extra charge. We'll create the Roof Buyer's Guide that you can use on your website or your landing page to attract prospects that aren't ready to buy yet. And as we've already said, you'll exchange the free guide for their contact information, and then once you have that, you can stay in touch. And that's with bonus number 2, the follow-up emails. We'll also create a customized series of 6 follow-up emails to help you convert customers. Once again, any prospect that receives an estimate but doesn't buy should go into that follow-up email hopper. You shouldn't just ignore them and say, well, they'll come back if they come back. You want to be the company that stays in touch. So you simply forward the contact information to us, and we'll send those emails out on your behalf on a daily basis. That's if we're sticking around. If we're not, what we can do is we can set the system up for you to manage and kind of show you how that works and show you how to do it. So that's everything. I do want to let you know that we grant the exclusive rights to our Google AdWords lead generation and conversion programs, the ones we just talked about, to just one roofing contractor per market. So if one of your competitors chooses us first, then we won't be able to work with you. Here are your options. You can kind of live in the past and avoid Google AdWords like a lot of roofing contractors are doing, or you could do it yourself and spend thousands of dollars trying to get it right and then end up disgruntled and talking to your friends and saying this stuff doesn't work, or you could hire us to do all the work for you so you can focus on running your business. Our special offers, you should know, our special offers are good for 7 days and 7 days only. And the reason we do that, quite honestly, I've been doing this for a while, and I found out a while back that a lot of times people would be interested and they'd be excited about it, but they'd say, well, I'm interested, but I've got to hire another guy, or my truck is down, or we're expanding next month. Maybe next month is better, or 2 months is better. And by that time, you've kind of forgotten about us and forgotten about what you're excited about in the first place. So what we do is we go right up front with our best and final offer and say, here's our best offer where we're giving you great prices here, and we're going to make that offer, but only for 7 days. That kind of forces you to decide, just like a landing page, it forces you to decide, do you want it or don't you want it? And then certainly it's obviously up to you. So, but our special offers do expire on March 8th, 1 week from today. If you're interested and you want to take the next step, or you have some questions and you want to contact me, or you just want to give me feedback on the webinar, we'll take that as well. I can be reached at jim@roofermarketingstrategies.com, or that phone number you see on your screen, 1-800-584-0936. I want to thank everyone who attended the webinar. If you missed any part of this, I should tell you this too. If you missed any part of the webinar, we're going to be doing a webinar replay for you, so you can kind of fast forward and go to sections where you might have missed a little bit. Again, I appreciate everyone who tuned in today. If I can help you, if we can be of service, don't hesitate to contact me.